Zenless Zone Zero. You know, I should have known by the trailers when I saw this game promoting itself by showing the most animated anime feed I've ever seen and some interesting animation, that this game would actually be one of the best anime games I've ever played. I had some pretty mixed thoughts when I first played this game, but just like One Piece, it gets better over time. Just trust me on that. Can we get much higher? As you unlock new places, it really helps to just expand on the world that you're in. And as you level up, the combat does get a little bit more challenging, and it's honestly probably the best part of the game. And honestly, even as a free-to-play player, you never really feel like you have to spend money to get characters on this game. They give you plenty of opportunities to get free rolls. It's actually insane to think that this game is a completely free game. Not only that, even after playing for almost 100 hours at this point, I still haven't even gotten bored of it yet. So let's take a look into the world of Zenless Zone Zero and see how Hoyoverse made another hit.
I'm about to skip this shit. Skip. But when does this game get fucking good?
Now, I don't know who at Hoyoverse is the one that's in charge of animating all of the characters in this game, but you need to give them a raise now. Zenless does a really good job at making each character feel very different in their gameplay, even with the combat being somewhat of a simple system. And it honestly just took me unlocking a lot of different characters to realize that just a few minor differences in how the characters feel can make the game feel just totally different. When you first start out the game and you're just playing, the combat honestly, although very flashy, just felt kind of slow, and that's honestly because you realize that you were just basically under leveled. But where you really get in depth with this game is as you start to actually care about leveling up. You start to care about the W gears you use, and you start to care about what specs to put into each character. You start playing around with different team comps and even watching guides on how to play the characters to get better. Link below. And with that, you start to have a lot more fun with the combat, and you get to see those damage numbers just go insane. It honestly just really helps you get really just sunk into this game. Now honestly, the gameplay until you reach about, I would say, level 25-ish, it just kind of felt kind of slow. You don't really have too much materials, and honestly, all the missions at that time, you were in the same environment, fighting the same enemies just over and over again. It was just honestly a grind. But then as you continue to play, all of a sudden out of nowhere, they just start adding a bunch of stuff. You have new enemy types. You have levels that you actually have to traverse from area to area. You have different types of missions. Some to where you have to break objects, some to where you just have to explore a little bit, and some to where it's just only fighting a boss. The gameplay honestly just gets a lot better over time, and it just really makes you think almost, why didn't they just have all of this stuff in it from the beginning? Maybe that can help a lot of new players get engaged a lot sooner. And as far as the characters, I don't know if this is just still because the game is relatively new, but they are giving out polychromes almost like it's Christmas. And having extra polychromes basically means,
let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it.
Rest assured, public security is committed to helping every citizen.
although I haven't unlocked every character, I don't really mind it because the characters I have unlocked, I've been having so much fun playing with that you just don't really feel like you have to spend that money to get everyone right away. You can kind of just get them over time. And honestly, I don't know if this is just a feature in this game or if this is just normal for gacha games. This is really almost the first gacha game I've ever played, but the fact that it tells you how many rolls you have until you're guaranteed to unlock the character that you want, this is just mwah. Peak game design. This is amazing. Like I said, I don't know if every gacha game does that, but if they don't, they need to do that because that is amazing. The only part of the gameplay experience I still can't get behind is the TV puzzles. Some people may love it and I understand why they would probably enjoy it, but every time it throws me into this, it's just kind of like a snooze fest. Not to say that it's really the worst thing ever. It's bearable. It's just really not my cup of tea, but honestly, that's just because I'm smooth-brained with AP levels of brain rot, so if I'm not fighting enemies, I'm just not interested. And I do know that there was also a recent announcement for the 1.1 release of there's going to be a new game mode or something like that that's going to have that just removed from the game. It's going to be a whole new experience, so we'll just have to see when that comes out. But honestly, the gameplay really starts to pick up as you continue playing the game, and it just makes it so much more enjoyable that I would say Zenless after level 25 is really one of the best anime games I've played. At the beginning, a little bit slow, but it picks up so much over time. Once you do reach about level 30, the game story does start to slow down, as it basically just makes you level up to unlock the next mission, but leveling up can definitely take some time, and it may even take you a few days to do. So for the most part, after level 30, you're mainly just grinding and doing every side quest you can come across, but as a gacha and a live service game, this is really kind of the beauty of the game and where the game starts to thrive. The gameplay experience between the story missions and then the side quest missions aren't really that different. They're fundamentally the same thing, so although you're not really advancing the plot, you're still playing the same type of game. And it's actually kind of crazy how many missions they have in this game. Like I mentioned before, this is a completely free game, so the amount of content they have on it is actually kind of insane. However, I would say if you're someone who doesn't like grinding the same missions over and over, you just probably won't like this game. But to be honest, if you're like that, you probably wouldn't even have tried it out in the first place. Now, for me, since this is basically the only game I've been playing for the past few weeks, there are points of time to where your head is just starting to hurt of almost boredom, just running around doing the exact same mission, trying to grind for materials, finding the same enemies over and over in the VR training just to get more materials. It can get a little bit repetitive. But those moments are not that often because they're still hanging those upcoming story missions over your head that you're working towards. And like I mentioned before, there's a ton of side quests, and some of them are different, and that really helps to add variety to the game. Even some of them, they're just little small things, like one to where you have to have a hint and run around time and find out what to take the pictures of, or one to where it's a bang boom mini game of we have to count them and pose them correctly. I really enjoy the simple side quests like that, but it almost just makes you want to crave more things like that. You don't want to have just the same thing over and over. You want more of that. And you start to unlock a lot of new places like the Lumina Square, which honestly just looks really cool. And I almost wish that they would have done more with this, but I mean, the environment and everything, and even just the NPCs you see around town really help to add life into this world. But with things like this, there's also just a lot more that I want from this game. What I mainly wish as I continue to play this game is just that I want more. I enjoy the environment, I enjoy the characters, and I really enjoy the core gameplay, but I just want more from it. Generally, for most video games, I feel like the small little details are what really takes it from a good game to an amazing game. And what I mean by that is, for example, the environment in this game. The entire world that you run around definitely has a theme, and it's really cool, but you see things like these cool cars that you just never get to access, and you think, why is there not a mini game to where I can maybe drive this around the city that I'm in? You see all these NPCs and you wonder, what if you can just go up and have conversations with them, or what if they were just more interactive? Even with the characters, I enjoy all of the characters in the game, but why not add maybe things like costumes? That's extra gacha money for them, and it's something that I would enjoy as well. For what the game has at its current moment, it's really good, and I do enjoy all the little details that they do have presently, but you just want more. And I guess that's a good thing for the game, because you enjoy it so much that you just want to enjoy it even more, if that makes sense. Especially with upcoming gacha games on the horizon like Neverness, the Everness, and also Project Mugen. I feel like Zenless Zone Zero is amazing how it is, but they may just need to add more content to keep it fresh and be able to compete against these upcoming games. So overall, Zenless does get better over time, especially after you reach about, I'd say, level 25 to 30-ish. The game really picks up and it becomes a lot more enjoyable. So if you maybe are still playing the game and you think it's okay at this point, just continue playing. It gets better. And Hoyoverse, I promise you, if you can just add those things into the game that I mentioned, I may be willing to finally put in my credit card to give you some money. But I do hope that you enjoyed my updated thoughts on the game. I really have been enjoying it a lot more, but if you love this game as well, and if you've been playing it a lot, I definitely recommend always that you subscribe as well as like the video, because that definitely helps a ton.